This is We People News. Alrighty, well, and I messed up. Diesel for We People News. Okay, so we have a Supreme Court ruling that was done back in 2003. But let's talk about it because, number one, there is no Supreme Court rulings, it's the Supreme Court opinions. Alright, that's number one problem we have today. However, we are where we are. I'm not an attorney, so whatever I say on here, y'all, it's just a learning video. And it's not to look straight forward. Just look around you. What was the cause and effect of this, what you guys call rulings, right? So let's dig a little deeper in this and find out what's going on. Alright?
Today's topic is Maryland versus Pringle, the facts behind this case, and how it impacts officers' ability to make arrests after finding contraband in a car. I'm Steve Cerbalic, and I'm a panel attorney with As Cops in Arizona. Remember, as always, this is a topic and not legal advice. At 3:15 in the morning, a car occupied by three men was stopped by a police officer in Maryland for speeding. The officer saw a large amount of rolled up money in the glove compartment.
Okay. Let's stop there for a second. So, officer stopped, and then he's seen a large amount of money in the car, which, by the way, was $700 and some change. Okay? Wasn't very much. It was $700 freaking dollars. So it wasn't a large amount. So, why is it any of the officer's business of the $700 in the first place? Right? Terry versus Ohio. Suspicion.
When the driver opened it to retrieve the registration, and he received consent to search the car. During the search, the officer recovered hundreds of dollars of cash from the glove compartment and 5 baggies of cocaine from between the backseat armor.
Okay, I'm not picking on this lawyer, but this lawyer already knew how much money and how much cash there was, so why did he specifically point out the drugs and not how much money? He said hundreds of dollars, which technically it is hundreds of dollars, but it's $700 and some change. But he was really specific on how much drugs was in that car. And never give consent, y'all. Never. Let the cops do as they wish, but never give consent.
And the back seat. All three men denied owning the drugs and the money, so the officer arrested all of them. Later...
Okay, we'll stop right there. So the officer got ahead and arrested all three. Okay, so let's go with argument. Defense, right? What if it was his girlfriend's money and drugs in that car and all three people was innocent? That would mean all three innocent people went to jail. Sit and think about that. Okay, in the United States, the real United States is a common law country, which is the real law of this land. Okay? So criminally speaking, there has to be a victim. So who is the victim in this case? They call it a crime. Where is the victim in this country in a common law courts? Because they're not using common law courts. Because it's just too hard to convict innocent people. I make a lot of the situation, but I'm just pointing out some things that due to this civil law thing that overpowers our common law, what made everybody easier to be arrested. Therefore, 3 guys went to prison or went to jail with no victim.
After being questioned under Miranda, the front seat passenger, Pringle, admitted the drugs and money were his. and Pringle was sentenced to 10 years in prison. But then, Pringle tried to have the confession suppressed, arguing that the...
So he went to prison for 10 years and not a single victim. By the way, this is one of the off branches of Terry versus Ohio that kind of takes your rights away. Well, there ain't no kind that does. But this is also the sidestep branched into the war on drugs with Nixon, Mickenberg, that actually got impeached. Well, he kind of decided to leave because he's getting impeached, but either or, alright? And it's kind of funny how he gets impeached. All the laws that he helped should have been wiped out. Just saying.
Officer did not have enough facts at the time of the arrest to show that Pringle had knowledge and control over the drugs, particularly since the drugs were found in the back armrest when Pringle was a front seat passenger. The Maryland Court of Appeals agreed with Pringle, but the U.S. Supreme Court took the case, and in a unanimous decision, the Supreme Court held that probable cause existed for the arrest of all of the occupants of the car. The court noted that probable cause standard is a practical standard, that it's a fluid...
And notice that. It's a practical standard. Okay, why isn't the Supreme Court state, well, it is a constitutional standard? Because they don't want to go by the Constitution. Because that would mean they would have to wipe out Terry versus Ohio and all the other branches. They would have to challenge the litigation of the war on drugs. So this is 2003. This is after Nixon. And this is when everybody, well, part of the time of overloading the prison system that Reagan caused by prison by profit. So the thing that gets me more of anything else is our founding father and a few other people, okay? But let's go with one extreme one. It said it's better for 100 criminals to be set free than it is for one innocent to go to jail. Where's the Supreme Court that should be going by the standards of the Founding Fathers? Why did they go ahead and assumed all three of them being guilty on a non-crime when the Founding Fathers actually left a standard? Look, buddy. Look, Supreme Court. You lost your case. The man's got to be set free because, well, there's not a freaking victim. And this attorney helps out cops and all that. So what he's doing is basically teaching cops that's okay to go against the Constitution because the Supreme Courts we have, it's not a constitutional courts. So, but the Supreme Court gave you permission to violate people's rights and put innocent people in jail.
Concept turning on the assessment of probabilities in particular contexts, and that officers had probable cause to arrest all of the occupants of the car once they found the drugs and money, and everyone denied ownership. Specifically, the court said the following, quote, "We think it an entirely reasonable inference from these facts that any or all three of the occupants had knowledge of and exercised dominion and control over the cocaine."
Okay, same thing to that, right? We are allowed to think what we want to think without facts. So, therefore, everybody is a criminal. So, therefore, everybody's going to be punished, and the court's going to separate it out because the cops are not smart enough to do the investigations themselves. So the courts have to do the investigations for the cops.
Thus, a reasonable officer could conclude that there was probable cause to believe Pringle committed the crime of possession of cocaine.
Again, what crime? Where's the crime? There is no victim. No victim, no crime. So there is no probable cause because there's no victim.
Either solely or jointly, end quote. The court pointed out that the confines of a car make a difference here, and the same logic would not apply if the individuals were, for example, all present at a business like a tavern and drugs were found. So the takeaway is this: if you find drugs in a car and there are multiple occupants of that car and everyone denies the drugs are theirs, Maryland versus Pringle makes it clear that everyone in the car can be arrested. That said, it's important to conduct interviews afterwards, under Miranda, to bolster your likelihood of a conviction. If you have questions or...
Right there. Officers, the Supreme Court says it's okay to violate innocent people's rights because they are in a wrong place at the wrong time and there has never been established a victim. Anyway, this is Diesel for We the People News. I thought it was interesting, and of course because of the Supreme Courts, everybody learned that Supreme Courts have rulings now instead of opinions, which is a plain out bluntly lie. And they get by with it because of the ignorance of the people. This Supreme Court opinion is null and void because it was 100% against the Constitution. That's the reason why they never brought up the Constitution legality of the situation. It had to be basically on codes, statutes, and the war on drugs and suspicions. No more, no less. And even if that was true under the original Constitution, that officer must write down the description of these men, and nowadays he gets the tags and all that and be able to track one down and get a warrant to go search his vehicle back in the old days, back in the real Constitution days. The cops was not allowed before 1968 really to arrest you without a warrant. And well, before then, you had the prohibition thing, so they kind of rerouted the Constitution on that too itself. Which basically this right here is going off the prohibition thing also, because anything that's deal with the drugs, they drug the prohibition into modern times with the drugs, is what they technically did. And Nixon kind of helped them with the war on drugs.
Comments about Maryland versus Pringle, or probable cause to arrest individuals in a vehicle when you find drugs, leave them below. And if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe for more law enforcement.
Okay, I found it helpful. I found it helpful that cops are allowed to throw you in jail without a warrant. And if you got $700 in your car, you are automatically doing drugs, and I want to get permission to search your vehicle because I have suspicions that you have money. These are We the People News. Sarcastic as usual. I'm not an attorney, so just take whatever I'm saying with a grain of salt, obviously. You guys are smart enough to not to take my advice since I'm not an attorney. But never, never, never just look straight forward. Always look around you. Because the Supreme Court is ruling to confiscate your person. Aye, y'all.